blessed. I've known I was put on this earth to build a world where all kids can feel safe.
Oh yeah.
Are you gonna be my mommy and daddy?
We sure would love that if you'll have us.
Folks just love a good American family.
I just want to say it's about daggone time. It's about doggone time. We are now getting another perspective because the first 4 episodes were Cap. It was Cap. That was not Michael. That was not Christine. That was not who them people are. So listen, 5 and 6, we see a shift. Tyra, how are you today? And are you ready to dive in it? Are you ready to dive in it?
I'm about to die. Yeah, of course. Absolutely ready for that. I'm feeling good. Like, I'm shocked. I was like, they're just gonna run Natalia through the mud. I don't see them switching any narratives. Us getting anything from her perspective. It's not looking good. It was looking real bleak for the first few episodes. I don't know why they drug it out for this long, but I'm happy to see it. They wanted us to feel for Natalia, and I was over there with her great value snacks.
Lord, with all the snacks she couldn't get into in episode 5. But y'all, we're not going to belabor the point because we have a lot to cover because we'll be covering episodes 5 and 6 tonight. So y'all, let's get right into it. So as far as storytelling, as far as knitting a yarn for you, Tyra, after watching episodes 5 and 6, what are your overall thoughts of the series thus far and the perspective switch? Because it's considerable.
It's a very strong switch. Even I like the little detailed looks, the little changes that they did on Michael, and it's like it's like a little it's like the darker versions, like the alternate Marvel evil universe of them. It's strong. It's strong, and I think it needed to be for where we started and how they created this little monster of Natalia and almost this little, demon seed. So now it's just kind of switched and you really get to see, well, yeah, this is what you guys were maybe thinking about me, but this is what I thought about you. So I think it's really interesting. I'm glad that they did it this way. I think that this was the best way to kind of cater to how bonkers the real life story is, but still kind of fit everything in there. I don't know if we could have went the conventional route because this is a narrative of where he said, she said, and it's this side and this side. So I didn't think about that before. I was like, this is all we're going to get. These people don't care about Natalia. These people don't care. They're not trying to give her anything. I thought it was a very smart choice looking at it now. And I'm kind of longing. I wanted a little bit more because just watching it, and I know that we can't hit all the beats. We only have so many episodes, but I thought that we would linger a few places a little bit longer. And it was like, nope, you kicked out of here. You got to go. I was like, oh, so now we're already, progressing the story forward. There were some minor changes that I was like, why? But not anything major to where I couldn't identify with Natalia and feel for her. Because somebody helped the baby cut the bath water off.
Listen, not for nothing, I cried real tears. Listen, by the end of episode 6, I really wasn't no good because They painted Natalia as such a monster. They did the same thing in the documentary. And so like I get the creators of the show. They're like, okay, let's kind of follow that. Because if you watch the original documentary, you know that part one, you are team Barnetts. You were like, this is the orphan. And she was a whole grown woman. There's no way. By the second part of the docu-series, you're like, oh, was I right? Was I wrong? Who is, like, you're questioning your first mind after watching the second part, and then you still have more questions after three, but at least you know the truth. So I like the way they're approaching the story. It would have been completely unethical not to give Natalia her say. I would have been too through, because listen, what we would never do is make Christine and Michael the poster parents of the foster system. Disgusting. But I mean, I'm there. Even in the serious parts, my only kind of contention, and I know they do this by design, is that this is some real traumatic stuff that they are adding this kind of hilarity to, Tyra.
Yeah.
Because if they have Natalia run one more time, if they have her run one more time.
You got the narrative, Ashley. You cannot have everything. There has since the beginning been an interesting tone to this show, to where it does feel like a campy horror movie at times. It does. So I'm just glad that we're getting her side. That's all that we can ask for.
That part. So as we go into episode 5, too hurty without it. And so if you remember the end of episode 4, this is when Christine and Michael drop her off at this bootleg apartment in Westfield, Indiana. They give her groceries. I mean, we didn't really see them bring the groceries in the house. We just saw them drop the suitcase at the front of the door, close it, and take a deep sigh of relief. But now we're getting it from Natalia's perspective, and it really kind of put me in the space of, you're a 7-year-old child. You're being dropped off in an unknown place, right? You have a disadvantage because you're not normal height. This apartment was not accessible in terms of any sort of allowances being made for her size or any of her disabilities. And like, you don't even know how to open up a can, Tyra.
Yeah.
Like, you can't cook. Like, they brought you food that you can't cook. And at the end of the day, you're still a child. You don't clean. You know what I mean? The tub's too big. You bust your head trying to get into the tub to try to take a bath. You can't even turn the faucet on. Talk to me about, well, and then let's go, because I just had to kind of paint that. But now it's time for her to tell her story. So we see her talking to the detective, and I believe this is 2013. And so she's going to be going back to the time that she was dropped off and giving her side of the story. So I believe the detective was 2013. We go back to 2012. And now we're here, Tyra. I just got a new apartment.
You know what? I just got a
Listen,
new apartment.
apartment.
Yeah, I don't want this apartment. I don't want this new apartment. We were in the slums. We in the slums, honey. And this isn't even like the slummy one. This was, slummy adjacent, apart from the one that we get in the next episode. This was hard. Like, I'm a mom. I can't fathom. My son is just about 7. Where? Leave alone where to raise yourself. Like, it's one thing to hear it in the doc and you're like, kind of going through the motions, but in so much of the doc, you're getting the narrative. You're really fixated on, well, how old is she? Because that makes all of the difference. But it's like looking at it now, and now that there has been confirmation of, regardless of what was said and what was doctored up, we're 7-8 years old in this apartment alone. And we're also, physically incapable of doing certain things. This was terrifying. Like,
Absolutely.
Regardless of what they thought or felt about Natalia or whatever type of hindrance she was giving to this family, to leave her in these type of conditions, whether you thought she was 22 or not, is insane.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that she wasn't even that, and you have this 7-year-old in here trying to fend for themselves, all while trying to coast with what feels like an identity crisis, because you're telling me to accept one thing when I know deep down, girl, I've only been here 7 years. I think I would have remembered if I was here for 22 years. It's just a whole lot to process. But to see her go through the motions in here, and the food, and the television and to be frightened, or just to try to kind of, she's also in there kind of repenting, trying to retrace her steps. So what did I do wrong? Are they coming back? Is this temporary? And just the hygiene of it all, the lack of food, because we're 7, baby. I don't know how to, like, this was just really inhumane and really disgusting. And I don't even see how anybody could want to entertain anything Christine or Michael had to ever say, regardless of how old you thought she was. This was the worst decision that you could have possibly made.
Absolutely. And that was my contention even through the documentaries. It's like, okay, say she was 22. She still has obvious and clear disabilities that make it impossible for her to do everything on her own without accommodation, and to just leave someone in that state is completely heartless. So you're right. A lot of the episode we actually spend here kind of going through the motions of what a 7 or 8-year-old would do if they were alone in an apartment. They get hungry. They want to watch TV. They're struggling with this idea of, oh my goodness, I've been left. Do I have a mommy and a daddy anymore? Like, maybe this is just a punishment, and maybe they are going to come back to get me if I can just be good. And so we watch her kind of voyage through that. But eventually she needs help. Baby, she's dirty, she's starving, but in her mind and what she's been rehearsed and coaxed to say, I'm grown, I'm 22 years old, I just look young for my age. And so finally it gets to the end of her of her reach. She's eaten all her Pop-Tarts, anything edible that she could eat in the house, she's eaten it. And so now we bust into the next door neighbor's apartment and we steal her donuts, honey. We steal her donuts. But we make, I guess, kind of an ally here. Tyra, I will say this. If you watch the doc, you know everything that happened over in these apartments. I'm grateful the show didn't go through all of that, because it would have been even more traumatic.
Absolutely. But even with, because in stature, this actress, she is larger than Natalia. I just don't see, and even back with the doc, how anybody, I don't even want to say an ally, regardless of what you're saying to me with your mouth, just looking at Natalia, looking at the conditions that she was left in, I don't think I could stomach. I don't see how you just bypass and overlook things. And well, if she says she's 22, she's 20. I'm like, these are one of the things that make you go, like, you didn't. Nobody felt the need to investigate a little further beyond, well, baby, they're just donuts. I'm just gonna. She's coasting. Nothing Natalia says adds up. Well, where's the phone number? Well, you don't know the number. You can't call. It's just not the. I don't know if they're giving enough levity to Natalia's character, because in the doc there was always a sense of, even before she got to Christine and them, there was this maturity and wise beyond her years, and even these behaviors that displayed that maybe she was older than what she was saying. In her verbal, how she was having conversations like, this isn't giving, it's giving an adult. We're not really getting too much of that. I just still see a child here. So I'm not even going to give this lady ally. Like, she should give her these sugary ass donuts. she let her use the phone. I mean, she did what she could, but I'm just not, I don't even see how anybody looked at the actual Natalia and said, yeah, okay, where?
I mean, it's got to be hard. It's got to be hard when you're looking at her. She's, and she clearly looks like a child, because let's be honest. If you see the original pictures of the real Natalia, you'll see she does, during this time of her life, look like a baby in the face. Now, they show some of the harshest pictures in that doc, and they do it by design because they're trying to take you on this journey. But, she's got an ID that says she's 22. So, like, she ain't make no fake ID. So is she lying? Is she not? Like, maybe she's developmentally delayed. I mean, people don't have discernment, Tyra. They don't. So
she all of that, we bust down the door. Regardless of that, if you're, transparent enough to say, well, I'm actually 22. I just look young for my age, and we can coast through lies adding up as to why we are alone here by ourselves, even with our dwarfism. We also don't have enough discernment to know, hey, we can't just run into a stranger's apartment and eat their freaking donuts. We can't just, service ourselves in that way. Like, there's clearly something wrong. And even if there was a situation of being mentally delayed, or she's here alone.
Yeah, I'd have called them people. They have adult protective services. Call them people. calling people. But again, like, so if you watch the doc, you know that this was not the only neighbor. This is the granny who hates Natalia's stinking guts to this day.
Yeah.
I knew exactly who this character was. I was like, oh Lord, this is this. And the situation that we see later on in the episode is not really what seemed to have caused the issue. There were some other allegations made against Natalia. I'm not going to go into the thick of it, but this was not the only neighbor. This was not the only child. This was not the only situation in that neighborhood before it became.
That's what I was really confused. Like, what do they want us to take away from this? Because I'm like, the things that you're choosing to leave out, do we want to see the distasteful things? No. But the way that those people speak up until this day, even identifying that, you know, all this time she was actually 7 or 8 running through here, they speak on her with such a disdain. Or like, oh my God, like she was a tyrant. We were happy. We need to get her the hell out of there. We were so, the best day is when Natalia got the hell out of these apartments. Like, what? I didn't want them to, you know, go deep into it, but I just wanted to see a little bit more to just try to get the whole visual of it personally.
Yeah, the consensus, because you do kind of see all the neighbors outside, but you don't know the weight of it, honey. These neighbors was on a campaign to get Natalia out of there, honey. They was up at that leasing office every day. Like, can she go yet? Can y'all evict her yet? Do you have enough to get her out of here yet? And so while all that's going on, she's watching TV one night and she finds out that Christine's book is finally published. And so she runs to the library.
Can you please?
And I'm going to say this. At this point, put Natalia on the track team because she's running everywhere. Okay. She's running amok. She's running to libraries. She's running around the block. She's running around the neighborhood. She's running everywhere. And so we go to the library. She starts reading there because I need to know what mommy said, because mommy said that every child deserves love, because that's what Christine lied and said on that interview that she saw. We find it and immediately, you know, okay, I need to get the book. I need to go home. But then, Tyra, we get into it with the library folk. We beating people up because it's as if I was never there. Talk to me about this whole, because it was so outrageous. I heard nothing of this in the doc, so to me this is pure fiction. But talk to me.
These are the things. These are the things. Like, I would have much rather, just like, it didn't have to be every single person in the apartment complex, but that neighbor couple that lived in the home across the street that she was venturing into, to where, you know, she was over there all the time. It was really, really great at one point until it got overbearing. She was blowing up our phone. She called the police. She did this, that, and like that. I wanted to meet those people. That would have been interesting. This library scenario, first of all, I was like, all right, vocabulary, you better read that book, Natalia. you better read those words, okay? There's that. But her running to the library, getting in here, attacking, girl, it was just, I know they wanted us to go through these motions. She really was kind of at her wit's end. I think that was after she was eating raw pasta out of the hamburger helper box. It's just like, oh my God, mommy's on TV. Something familiar, something I know. Maybe she's going to come back. It was a spark. It was an inspiration. Like, oh, the book. Oh, well, I got to get to the library. To the library. She went to the library. She got there, you know, like, it just needs a little shaping. It was very Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. I'm going to the library to get mommy's book because, you know, that's how we're moving. But I got the emotional hold that it was having on her, to know that she was cropped out and she lashed out and all of that. And we had to get the book for her to do that once we get back to the apartment. But the process of getting the book and kicking this young man and girl, this was interesting. I'll say that.
Lord, and beating people up. And then what got me, Tyra, is they couldn't catch her. She got away. She got all the way home. They filed a report, but like, y'all didn't give chase. It behooves me. These liberties that they're taking are wild, because we know she could barely walk. We even see more of that in episode 6. So now we're back at home and it's time for Michael's obligatory food drop off and recording session, because I need to record everything, right? Because I need to keep an account, because that's what Christine told me to do. And this is the first time we're approached with who I believe the Michael is that Natalia actually got to see. Yeah. Animated, still over the top, because when he sees the book, so you did go to the library. Oh my gosh, are we on your hit list, Natalia? Is this what you do? And even in this moment, we're seeing her, Daddy, are you guys here to get me? Like, Natalia, you haven't cleaned this place since the last time I've been here. Oh, but you've got plenty of food. Look at that. All right, Natalia. See you next time. What did you think of this interaction? And was this the real Michael? To me, it was.
Oh, this is definitely Michael. You got everything you need, don't ya? Wink, wink, don't ya? Say it to the camera straight, just in case you try to re-up and act like we weren't taking care of you. Look at this place. It's the kingdom. It's just a palace. It's not. This is filthy. These are terrible living conditions. As far as Natalia is concerned, she's on a timeout. She's being punished, and they are going to eventually let her come back home if she acts right. There's this running theme of earning liberties, earning love, and we know that back from the real Christine in the doc. This is a privilege. You need to earn these things, and that's how she chose to give out discipline. This Michael, it's about time, because I didn't know who that Michael was a couple of episodes ago. If he has a manic episode and has a throuple and rolls around on this carpet, we'll be completed. And series off in a fast car to some old music. Then we're cooking, okay? If he gets down there and punches that floor, we're cooking. This felt very, very familiar. This is just really sad though. Like, it just shows just how trash they were, like these conditions, and just how comfortable he was leaving her there because you're 22. Like, okay, and if she wasn't, like, what about everything else? You're 22, like, girl, don't. But you said you love me forever for who I am. Remember what you said? It's just like, girl, what did I ever say? That get your ass off me. Who told you that? I don't. It's like he's happy to be rid of her, and this is my concern is the Natalia we're getting, because Natalia felt very mature in a sense of kind of knowing what this was and what this family was. Natalia vying to be with him, get picked back up, take me with you. I'm like, Natalia wanted to go with y'all. Okay, I don't know about that. Of course, I don't think Natalia was ever happy with these conditions or fending for herself. I think it's just that lack of maturity that we got from Natalia in the doc, and even how she spoke on certain events, for us to even question how old she was up until that point. Here, we're just really getting an 8-year-old. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of, there's a disingenuousness to it. Not so much the condition and Michael's behavior, but they really want us to feel for Natalia now. So they have to flip the narrative so low with her getting very childlike for us to just dismiss what we got in those first 4 episodes. It's like, we got to do damage control and bring it back down to earth. Remember, she's actually a child. This is a divisive choice. People don't know how old she was. But I really would like to have seen just the Natalia in it. But I do know that, she don't got nothing to do with this.
Yeah. I mean, watching this part, it does say that she gave an account. Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, maybe Natalia did end up working with somebody. I mean, it's a bag to be had. Okay. It's a Hulu bag to be had. So maybe she did lend something. Everything that we've gotten as it relates to Natalia during this period of her life has been hearsay. I mean, really, because at 20, what do you really remember what you were saying and doing at 6 and 7 years old? So I feel like everything that we know about Natalia at this stage of her life is from third parties. Now, there's a lot that is corroborated by the mental hospital, by the neighbors, by all of that. But I can't, in my good sense, think that this 7-year-old Natalia was as as they're purporting. I think that adultifying her gave Christine what she needed. I really feel like this was Christine's brainchild, and Michael just, kind of played the part. But I think that's how they had to present this, because that's how she was presented to the world in the doc. She was this adult. She knew she had autonomy. She had her cycle. She had pubes. Like, there was all of this, that we're contending with. So now, honey, listen, because she made
in babysitting.
Girl, because we're on the bus. I took the bus. Like, y'all are really riding up and down the blue line with this little boy because he thinks you're his friend, I guess. The neighbor goes to sleep. And again, this was one of those things. If you didn't know Natalia was really 7, this will do it, because you have no situational awareness, no idea where you're going, what you're doing. But I'm going back to my mommy's house. I'm going back. Come on. She's got snacks and video games. And my daddy, he's a rock star. Girl, be So for real. So she and this little boy, she tells them the wrong part, the wrong street because it was north instead of south. They end up across the tracks, and he's like, "What are you idiot?
You idiot!" It's like, God, just calm down, little man. Damn.
You idiot. Now we got to ride all the way down the other side." And so now they get to the neighborhood and we see Christine's friend. And I was like, girl, we ain't need to see you.
Girl.
But Natalia, you little liar. You deserved worse than this. Let me get you home. And I was like, is she going to leave Natalia? In my heart of hearts,
I thought she left her. I thought she was gonna walk. I thought she was gonna walk, hitchhike, run all the way back home. I swear.
Because she said, I'll take you home. Let me get you back to your grandmother. And then when I saw her in the backseat, I said, well, at least she didn't leave her. Tyra, talk to me about adventures in babysitting and how in this whole thing, Lord.
I mean, this was that. First of all, I needed grandma to be a little bit more on high alert. They went on a whole mission. You were asleep this whole time, but all right, there was that. But Natalia didn't know any better. Like, I'm sure this is her first time on a bus, first time, having any independence to just go and strut along. All I know is this is someone my age I'm familiar with and comfortable with who knows their way around enough for me to make it back home.
Mm-hmm.
She's excited. I don't have to wait, to be a good girl and clean up and do all these things. I can just go home and let them know I've changed and they even have snacks. You can come on in the house. Meanwhile, the house is sold. We had no intentions of, coming back. There's that. Just kind of trying to stomach, they're no longer here. And then you have the neighbor come out and say what she says, and she's criminalized there. And then by the time we get this baby back home to his grandma, like, first of all, don't, what the hell she call her? She called it a sick F or something. I was like, oh my God, this is a child. Of course, they don't know that, but it was like, oh my God, this is a child. Just to, hear somebody say that to a kid was just insane to me. This was sad. Like, to just they might as well have just thrown her away and just left her to the wolves at this point.
Yeah. So this is the final straw, Tyra. This is the final straw. Time to go, Natalia. Get your raggedy duffel bag, get out of bed, and let's go. Mommy, you're here for me. It's not that kind of party, Natalia. Are you happy now? They put you out. Now I have to take you somewhere else. I was like, this is going to be heck to pay the piper. And I knew it was going to get bad. But the mace, Tyra,
Girl,
was disrespectful and diabolical. But this is actually one of the things that's true, y'all. This is one of the things that they say that Christine did. She was the she was the fountain of abuse. Allegedly, according to Natalia and Michael, after the fact. Tyra, I'm just glad we didn't have to see Natalia roll down them steps. Talk to me.
Why they pick this location with all these steps? It wasn't that many damn steps.
Girl,
it's a lot of steps.
Talk to me. And this is Lafayette. So now we've moved her probably an hour and a half from Westfield. Y'all know Indy is my home state. So this is about an hour and a half from where she was living before. And now we know that the Barnetts are moved to Canada. Like, they are not even in Indiana anymore. So now she is kind of further along. This isn't a complex. It's more like a duplex on the top floor with 1,000 steps. They said, okay, you've got your EBT card, you've got a bus pass, you've got X, Y, or Z. You are to go to that school and come back home. Don't talk if anybody asks you, you do dangerous things, you hurt people, you can't be trusted. You're 22, but you just look young for your age.
Yeah. I didn't want it. I knew it was coming, but I didn't want to see it. Like, you got Natalia crawling up these steps pretty much on her knees at this point because her feet are in so much pain. And then, you're going to get your little GED so you can stop living off of us. Stop mooching. Yeah, get out there on your own, finally. And she's just like, oh, mommy. I was like, Natalia, baby, this is not what that is.
I'll be good.
She was just hoping because in Natalia's mind, I was doing what I was supposed to do. I had even cleaned up. I cleaned myself. Like, she did her little regimen or did what she thought Christine would have wanted. And now, I'm moved even further. And now you're getting here and you're upset. And just to make sure. And I don't know why Christine is still here painting the narrative of, I'll tell everybody you hurt my family. This is illegal. What are you talking about? This is illegal. I don't know why we haven't had Christine have a moment of, you were, regardless of what you thought about Natalia, you were trying to keep up appearance and you were happy to collect a check on Natalia's behalf. That's why we were storing her here. Like, this wasn't, yeah, I'm trying to help. Like, nobody's trying to, whoever really just tried to help her. You were collecting those funds and you didn't want to look like whatever for abandoning a child that you adopted. That's all that this was. So all of those threats of, I'm going to tell that girl, you ain't going to tell a soul because you should be ashamed and embarrassed. Macing her is absolutely sick.
Absolutely. And this is what will happen if you do it again, Natalia, because I'll
Yeah,
be back
this
to
is
check on
sick. This is sick. And I think that this was quick. I think we got a little bit of it in that following the next episode as far as the abuse, but we're not near her because we're in Canada to lay into that now. So now we need something quick and efficient. If you do something else, not only can I physically hurt you, but I'm going to mace you. Like, sick. Christine needs to be behind the jail.
Diabolical work. And Vic. So yeah, this girl could have been taken advantage of by some predator, shaking my head. And so life, that's up in the air because that's something Natalia never really wants to address in the docuseries. And we watched it, Vic. Yeah, that's something she doesn't want to talk about, but there is an instance that they talk about in the previous apartment with this cringy old man. And so it's not lost on me. She was on her own for a year, like in that one apartment, and then months in this one. She was complete prey. I'm sure. I'm sure she didn't leave those situations unscathed. There's no way. Like I said, for better or worse, whatever anybody feels about Natalia, she was abused and she was left for dead. She's a victim. Of it.
These conditions. I'm just really glad that she made it out of this. This was nothing conducive for her to live. All it took, and these conditions are, heightened at the same time, kind of like with these locations, but also kind of lowering what she really went through because we have her running every damn where. Like, we weren't doing that. We weren't doing that. It was really hard for her to get around. I need that to be understood.
Yeah. And yes, Barbie, that's a given. And we talk about both when we talk about this show, just FYI for your reference. Darfalina, don't do it. Don't do it. Having the mace on hand to deal with someone who has threatened her and harmed her was necessary. Now, Darfalina, you still don't believe Natalia was really
you see them comments, Darfalina say, I still think she's an adult. I don't believe it. She said she's grown. She's grown.
Mercy. Again, now it's time to go to school and come directly home. And we see the eyes. And my thing is at the school, well, if you know anything about the real story, you also know that the school is what sparks this whole entire investigation. Because as she's going there studying for her GED, they're like, there's no way she's this age. Like, she's not comprehending. She writes like she's in pre-K. Like, she's not who she says she is or what they're saying. And that's actually what starts the entire investigation into, is Natalia really the age they said that she was? So now we move on to episode 6, honey. Not today, Satan. Not today, devil. We're not going to do it. And listen, we're going to get into it because as much as I have words and have had words with Cynthia Mans, honey, because she was over here when we was talking about the documentaries. I'm not mad. Listen, and we'll get into the thick of it, Tyra, because she needed somebody. The episode set 6 opens up with the case of the menstrual, right? Because that was one of the big points that they make in the first half of the series, which is, why she's an adult. She's having a cycle every month and she's using these socks. And so now we're talking to the investigator and he's like, when did you have your last cycle? And we go back to this time where Christine comes and brings tampons. Now, here was my thing, Tyra. And this is something that they allege really happened as well. Mm-hmm. That Christine forced her, actually put this trigger warning, y'all, there. And that is when she actually bled. Prior to, there was no cycle. There was nothing of the sort. Tyra, talk to me about what you felt kind of recounting this again, because again, this is just one of the abuses that we see her subject to. And my thing is, you have a disabled person, whether you think she's adult or not, clearly doesn't know how to use this. Why wouldn't you give this lady some sanitary napkins? Why would you go here? Everything seems so strategic. And yeah.
This is sick. I think that this was another situation cooked up by Christine. And I know later in the episode we do have a situation that explains the bloody socks, but I think this was something that she cooked up to also age her up. I think that this was forced. This is, to me, this is right over there with grape. Like,
Me too.
this is awful. This was awful. This was really, really disturbing. To think that she would even go this far, I don't think it was just, I'm just gonna get these. Like, no, she got these just to fit her narrative and just to prove a point to whoever she was trying to get to sign this documentation. This was really, really. Christine's a sick woman.
Absolutely.
I just need her to be under the jail. Like, put her under there. What are we doing? Like, put her underneath there. This was just really disturbing, and I hated this for her.
Absolutely, girl. And now we see these feet that she was running on. Because why in the world? We've got Natalia outside. And of course, if I'm Natalia and I already have issues making stairs, right? Navigating them or getting up them, I'm probably going to stay out as long as I can too. That's going to be the last place I want to go because I know I have to get up these steps. So we see her digging in trash cans after she leaves the school. We see her kind of wandering in part of the worst areas. We hear the gunshots. We hear the blicky go off. Okay. And she's there, taking off her sock, looking at her damaged feet. And this was just hopeless, Tyra. Like, it really put me in the mind of, Natalia at this point had nobody. She literally had no one. And as a 7-8-year-old child out here alone in the world, like, this is so heartbreaking, Tyra. And I know they've made it a farce because, like I said, it's just so salacious and out there. But this really, really hurt my feelings, Tyra.
It did. It was hopeless, as a penny with a hole in it. It was just so sad. It was. It was like, this was so sad. Like the damage on these feet, which was already there prior, because walk around the block. We were using those things as punishment. But as much as I cannot stand, the old Barnetts, she really, I don't think she would have made it much longer if nobody stepped in to help her.
I agree.
If nobody stepped in to help her, like, what exactly was supposed to happen? She really needed Cynthia. Now, of course, like everybody else, for good or bad, Cynthia has her own agenda, because we know what Cynthia is. Cynthia is the collector of children,
Baby.
the collector of checks. I'm trying to get who you need. Who need a babysitter? Who, until you get yourself right with the Lord. Who you need to watch the kingdom? You need to take them in. You need to adopt them because we're a check. There's that, but if not her, who else at this point? I just don't know. Like, in all of it, just really showed just how in fear Natalia was and how conditioned she was. Because anybody else, if I try to give you some assistance once, and you, not only are you telling me you're an adult, but you're denying it, it's just like, nope. And it's just like, well, okay, I tried to help you. All right, have a nice day. She could have just walked away, but she kept, because as a parent or even as an opportunist, you can tell that, something's wrong and she needs some help.
Yeah, and we're going to get all into the thick of it, honey, because one thing about Cynthia Mans, she got more done in 24 hours than the Barnetts did in years. This heifer was on a mission. And like I said, for better or worse, hate Cynthia, the Mans, or love them, Natalia needed them. In this moment, in this time, she had nobody else. And I just really feel like fair exchange ain't no robbery. Baby, if the cost was buying all the family groceries so that she would have a place where she could feel like she belonged, but use the EBT card and buy the damn groceries. There is a lot of stuff that swirls about the Mans, about their mob ties, because the people swear they scared of these people in real life. The fact that they do collect children, the fact that they make over 6 figures a year. Basically fostering handicapped children especially. But I will say we needed this intervention, and we needed somebody who was going to be this nosy and persistent, because Cynthia wasn't taking any kind of no for an answer. Tyra, I need to use the bathroom. Can I come in your house? Oh, I thought you said the phone was on, Natalia. The phone ain't here. Oh, you got a new fresh EBT card. Girl, you finna be flush. Oh, God. Let me just see where you...
We in the hood. I came too far to die today. Get in the car. Not today, Satan. What you like Lafayette? Girl, it's the hood. I said, oh, okay. We're here. We're
When she
here.
said, "Oh God," I was like,
Oh
Cynthia,
God. Oh
oh
God.
God.
Say, girl. Okay. All right, girl. Yeah, but there's also, are you just being nosy because you're trying to be helpful, or did you, collect that mail and see that fresh EBT card? Like, oh, I know what this is. Let me make my way in here. Like, she definitely saw this as an opportunity, and it does beg to question what her real motives were just from the beginning. Because if I see this, do I want to help? Of course. Am I going to help? Sure. Am I going to just take you in and not do proper protocol, call anybody, check any channels, some services, like, hey, let's just get this squared away? No, you can just come to my house. Because we need some food. My baby needs some milk. My son needs some shoes. My children need a feeding. Okay, yeah, come on down. I'm gonna help you, but I also need to help myself. And then I was like, girl, you gotta take all, girl. What I thought she was gonna do in that freaking line after she, did this whole charade, and the phone's off, you're not being helped. Clearly, there is not a parent in sight. Let me help you. When they got to this goddamn counter, I just knew this heifer was gonna. Well, you know what? Since I'm cooking the dinner, how about I just go back and grab, something to make a meal for my family, and you could just come up. You had to take all the groceries, ho. She took all the groceries.
Leftovers home. She said she could take leftovers home, Tyra. She said
Leftover what? Scraps?
the leftover macaroni and cheese. Girl, you know what no leftovers after
You
feeding them
took
20
all
people.
the groceries, heifer. Like, first of all, it's giving kidnapping, because why you have to take all the groceries? If we're taking all of it, she already made it clear. I knew when she picked her up, she wasn't taking her back home.
Mhm.
Like, and she knew that. Like, you had to take everything at that moment. I was like, okay, yeah, your character has been in question forever. I just thought that was so low. You want to finesse it, or even just, hey, let me put some stuff up here for myself, because, I am cooking you dinner. Which, you took all the groceries?
Baby, yeah, she said, we gonna fill it up. When it was at $200 and something, I was like, I thought we were just getting dinner tonight. But again, my thing is $250 or Natalia possibly ending up being unalived in that house. I am not ever claiming that these people's motives were pure or right. I'm just saying Natalia at this point in her life needed a lifeline.
Yeah.
And fair exchange ain't no robbery. And yes, Darfalina, I met Christina Hendricks over there on Mad Men. That's where I fell in love with this actress. She transformed, honey. She Cynthia.
I needed some more. Like, there wasn't enough distinction visually between her and Christine. I kept having a double, like, okay. Like, when she came, and I don't know if that was strategic, like when she would be standing over Natalia or out of frame, or even her tone of voice, I was like, is she having a nightmare about Christine? Like, what's going on? I was like, oh, this is her. And we know what Miss Man and them over there looking like. Like, what?
You said she ain't never looked like this.
Yeah, I need somebody with a little rump roast on them. You know what I'm saying? I was like, what? I mean, okay, guess we're here.
Because Miss Christina snatched, honey. She gonna be fine. Period. Even frumpy fine. But yeah, I just if 250 was the cost, but that wasn't the cost. That wasn't it. That wasn't it, because now we are a family, like a giant tree, Tyra. We're doing sleepovers, we're eating dinner. And I did think that it was interesting because there is and just to echo your sentiment on the Christine Cynthia kind of comparison, there's a callback to that. At one point, Natalia's like, do you know my mom? Like, it was like she looked at her for this long thing, and they have the similar hair, the similar hair color, even the way they're wearing it. And it's like, do you know my mommy? And I was like, that came out of nowhere. But I think it was a callback to the similarities of the two. But now, like I said, we're a family, like a giant tree. We're having family dinners. We meet the bishop. What got me, though, I will say, in this next scene was living where you lived, Natalia. You scared to go into this place with the cross on it? I'd be running to the cross. I feel like this looks safer than any place you done been in the last 2 years.
Take me to the king. I'm going to the cross. I think she was just scared overall. Like, that lady said, go get your GED, go here and come home. Don't communicate. Don't talk to anybody. So, F around and find out, Natalia. You think this mace stings? I can do worse. Like, she was just really scared. Even if she I don't think it was just about getting took to the king. She was like, this feels, And then, she's only been, housed at certain places. And this was probably like who's home? Like, I'm coming from over there with Christine and them. Like, this is where? What trailer? Where? In the back of what? Who's home? Like, this is a little bit below what I've, been introduced to as a family home. So maybe it was just a little shock to the culture.
Lord. And so we're having family dinners, and Natalia's still on edge because no, I'm 22. I'm grown. Well, can you stay? Can you stay and watch a movie? Well, I don't know. I really should be getting back because during this entire time, we're having flashbacks to, the abuses that she suffered at the hands of Christine. And like, if Christine really make her way back down here, she gonna do something. Mind you, Cynthia don't give a damn. Like, oh no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And I will say you do see the stark contrast in parenting
Yeah.
between a Cynthia and a Christine. And like I said, for better or worse, whether you hate the Mans or not, you got to give something to the fact that she knew how to deal with a Natalia to
Yeah.
ingratiate. And I don't know if that's because she's a master manipulator. I don't know. But
She
to
around the
me,
way fillet is what she is.
but to me, I honestly, and seeing them in real life and the other things, they're definitely users. They definitely manipulated the situation. They definitely did some wrongs. But for whatever reason, for better or worse, I think there was some care that was given.
I'm just glad. Now, first, what I want to say is, these mans never met a white child that they didn't like and want to adopt. I said, where all these black children come from?
I said, where they all come from? I said, they never had this much melanin. They never.
Whose goddamn white baby is that? Where did all these black children come from? They weren't adopting no black children. I was like, way to go with the narrative. We just had to find all the black children, huh? Okay, because that's not who they had. But I just want to say that. I was like, I was looking like, where the whites at? Where the white women at? Where they at? Where they at? That was that. But I was glad that they put certain underlinings there to know that we are, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Because the way them kids like, oh, did we hit the lottery? All these, woo! Is this food? This is enough food for the rest of the month. Oh God, we were hungry, we were starving, we were waiting on you. And then even this baby down here who was making the card for her mom, she was like, yeah, don't tell her about it. Because I don't, there's a sense of repercussions being had or her having a certain narrative that she does want it painted within the household. And if you're here, then I don't want to hear anything about your other mother or your real mom or any of that. So there is, some contingency being, scattered throughout the house. But yeah, the way they act like the cavalry came through talking about they hit the lottery.
Baby, listen. And I do think that was an interesting reference because we do get introduced to Jelly. And if you did watch the documentary, you know that this is of course a real child and a real biracial child. One of the only melanated children that they actually had in their custody. The mama was a crackhead. The daddy was a toothless crackhead. Okay. We met them and they refused to give any real information on the Mans because they said they were scared. At some point, I think all of these people attended the Mans' church and they was collecting their babies.
And church with all 7 members.
Yeah. Because
really all 12 members and 6 of those 12 were just children that they had.
You know what? But Jelly, that was real. And they do say that one of the moms, I don't think it was Jelly though, but one of the parents or 2 of them really did try to get their kids back because the Mans had, I think like I said, they were making 6 figures a year just with the number of kids that they had that they were getting subsidies and payouts for. Darfelina, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Little Demon Seed, Natalia probably was scared of catching on fire if she got too close to the church. Now, Darfelina, thank you for the $5 super chat.
All her life, girl.
My people, my people, my people. So now, again, like I said, Cynthia not playing with it. We done went to the church house. We done went to a doctor's appointment and the doctor seemed to think that Cynthia was here to get some pain meds. And Cynthia said, I don't give a damn about the pain kids. I'm her mother. And she's in pain and she needs some shoes, a walker, something. The doctor said, I can order a walker. I can, order this. And again, Natalia, very stoic because you ain't tell me I had to go to the doctor. I'm not mad again at Cynthia for taking her because I think without this, Natalia would have been running in them socks still.
Girl, I was glad she took her, but it's also, everything is just so underhanded with them. there's always,
I
there's
love
this
it.
sense of, one hand washing the other narrative. Like you're not like I'm here. I'm motherly. I can give you all the love you want, but nobody's getting something for nothing. This has to benefit me and my family in some way. I was here for the Black Doctor. I don't know what I've seen her in, but I liked her in it. I was here for that and the questioning because it did kind of give. So what now? Like what's going on here? Just a visually speaking, and then of course a real licensed physician. We're going to question the narrative of I'm 22 and I'm grown, and I'm like. You sure? Because just looking at your dental, your teeth in the back and how they've come in, I'm not sure of that. Dane, y'all a mess tonight. Thank you so much, Dane, for the $2. There is no blame to be had. Thank you for watching the show and supporting the live, Dane. You are appreciated, as Tupac would say.
Yeah,
I was glad she took her. I was really glad she took her, and the way that it wasn't too pushy. There were threats being made, like, all right, well, that's the only way you get home. She already knew she wasn't ever taking her home, but what's really there for you? Why, as a Christian woman, I would leave you to those conditions. I'm never taking you back home, but I'm also not taking you or calling anybody because I'm trying to see how I can get this check.
Yeah, absconding. Look, absconding with this little woman all over town. Listen, I know she's a child. She's dressed like a damn minion doctor. So now we're at the follow-up doctor's appointment, but not before we went to the SSI office and got them benefits and that check turned over. Because why don't you just get it sent in my name? That way, you'll have it because ultimately we'll have to use these funds to pay for them shoes and to pay, for your walker, Natalia. So let's just go down to the office. I know the people. I got a contact. We're going to go there and just get the check sent directly to me. And then we'll go back to the doctor's office. And so now this is when Doc says, listen, you see all this space around the hip? If she was an adult, if she was 22-year-old, like y'all saying she is, she wouldn't have that. So in the show, we're to believe that this is what sparked the investigation because the doctor realized that she was not her age based on the scans. And so I'm fine with that narrative, whatever it took to get the police involved. And here we meet the detective who is now questioning the Mans because you have an open case already against y'all. So, I'm from the trafficking division. Like, did y'all take this little minion? What is happening here? Tyra, talk to me about the follow-up doctor's appointment and, planting the seed that, Natalia, were you wronged? What's your story?
I was rolling up on Dual Hill because I love me some Dual Hill. I was going to see who he was married to. It's a sister. Yeah, this was much needed. This was much needed. We already have that sense of Natalia's so paranoid. She's like, somebody's following us. She's looking over her shoulder. Like, I'm finally feeling safe, taken care of, secure. I'm not taking you home. We're gonna, wait for those results and the 2 weeks and that. And good job with this doctor. Just not taking anything, just for face value. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this, but when you get back here in 2 weeks, I've notified somebody because this baby needs some help. You're not her damn mother. These records aren't adding up. Regardless, even if you were, something needs to happen, and I'm going to make that call. Happy for that because nobody else was checking or making any freaking calls. There was that, but just the fear. She was so scared. She was so scared to be honest, or even just say anything because of how conditioned she's been to just think that she's going to be hurt, or even just to think that maybe the Mans will suffer for lying. Like she's just really really scared. But the way we made sure we transferred the benefits over, the way it rolled out of her throat. You just put it on my name, like this isn't her first rodeo. She's very, very true to this. Like she knows how it goes. And you can get your EBT right. We can get is it on Medicaid? So how much? So what's how we need to be there? Is it covered by the Medicaid? What about are you getting disability benefits? Like we could just roll that over. That's your money. You should be getting that money because right now it's about you when we know what it's really, really about. But if we have to, which is sad because she shouldn't even be having to give up all of this just to make sure she gets properly taken care of and gets her proper surgeries that she has. Are we going to get to them surgeries? Because we still ain't get them. But there's that. But I was just happy that somebody was doing something and she wasn't left to fend for herself in that damn apartment.
Yeah, I mean, I am too. And at least she got something. She would have never even had them damn shoes if she wouldn't have went through here now. Darfelina, thank you again for the $5 super chat. I love how Dule Hill is the only detective in the whole town. Listen, he going to work. He going to work. That it is what it is. Dane, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Who at fault? Little Sling Blade or Crazy Grey's Anatomy? You know what?
Little Sling Blade. Child. That's a
I cannot. And so again, and that's part of Christine's idea, transfer the benefits to me. That way, if Christine has an issue, she can call me direct. And that is exactly what Christine did. You don't have her in your house, do you? You don't have her around your kids, do you? If you know what's good for you, you'll drop her back off at that apartment and go on and live your life. Hold on, let me get out this car and have this private conversation with Christine.
We heard some of them conversations. You don't call and tell me. This is my daughter. I take care of her. You come see. You got a problem. You come see. Like, it's very, very, white woman who has children not black. They had a haircut and a nose ring.
Very coded. And then, of course, now we get the real Christine. And again, it's alleged in real life that she actually threw Natalia down these steps, honey. That she threw her down the steps, that she pounded on her. What did Michael do?
Girl.
Beat the brakes off Natalia in any way she could, and then finished it off with a run around the block. Go outside, Natalia, and no, you can't put on any shoes because I need you to get this lesson. Finally. And again, this is what we're supposed to be thinking, is keeping Natalia with the narrative that she's 22, that she's grown, that she's deceptive, that she's a monster, because she is scared of the repercussions from Christine.
Girl, Vic said, I need to speak to the manager. I was happy with how they shot this. I'm happy that they are, because they could take this so much further than they are, and try to visually do things or try to really pick at our senses and make us uncomfortable to try to spark a narrative or get, a viral sensation for how far they're pushing the narrative with this show. So the fact that we do get into the abuse, but it's kind of shown in this way and kind of off camera, but we do see how it's affecting her. I appreciate it, and I thought that it was at least tastefully done, because I really didn't know. After those first few episodes, I didn't know where we were going with this once we got to this part of Natalia's life. I thought they were going to go, I thought we was going to have Natalia dancing on tabletop shop. I didn't know what was happening. But this was very, very heartbreaking. It just shows what she had been through and where she had came from. And even yet and still, we were still begging to go back here and longing to be picked up. I think at this point she was really happy to try to get some type of solace in the man's house, but I can't be completely honest about who I am or how old I am, because Christine is still like a looming presence, even all the way from Canada.
Absolutely. And it's that idea of, I guess, kids will even love a bad parent, or kind of like that Stockholm syndrome, though. Like, well, at least that I was a part of the family, even though I was treated terribly. And I think it would be hard. It's hard for any mind to comprehend, let alone a child, girl. Because of course we go through this. We go a trunk or treat night. Natalia runs off again, and we don't find her till night falls.
Runs off. She ran off.
Yeah. And finally, it's like, Natalia, I understand you. Let's get in this tub finally, because she been avoiding this tub like the plague. We finally give her a bath. She scratched my head when it was ailing, Tyra.
But actually, please get out of my face. We are not going to Suge Avery this situation. I
swear. I call it Miss Seeley Blues. I call it Miss Natalia Blues.
Girl, it's Natalia Boo. Natalia Boo.
Natalia Boo. Sally Boo. And it does make me think, how many of those things she was missing out on. Like, oh, have you ever had a nickname? Have you ever had this? Have you ever had a sleepover? Have you ever been apart or felt that? And so now, of course, she getting baths, she scratched out her head, honey, and looked like a whole new person at the church house the next day. I have a testimony and a bath. Again, it made me emotional, Tyra. That heifer was been dirty for years. She had not taken a bath for years. She had taken some whole baths in the sink because that's all she could reach. And now you can see her luxuriating in the bath. She stretched back. And
I was here for the bath. So let me tell you something, sister. I'm happy. Sister got a bath. Remember you name. She got a whole bath, girl. She got a bath. She got a new beginning. It's a fresh start for what will be. We do know that Christine ain't done yet. We know what's about to, start unfolding. But I'm just happy that she even gets a little piece of a decent home and some happiness at this point.
I do too. I needed that. I kind of wanted to get up and see her in testimony service and what she was.
Yeah, I was like, I wonder what she about to say that went off.
Yeah, but I don't know. It was a decent way to wrap it out. And I think they did a good job of showing what that bond would look like with someone who showed you any bit of kindness when you're in that situation. And how, I mean, ultimately, this is the placement that lasted the longest in real life. She was with the Mans for 6-7 years. Or whatever. I mean, until she was an adult. So there was something to this. But you guys, that was episodes 5 and 6. Tyra, anything else you want to talk about the episode before we get on ready for the next situation?
Yeah, now I want to watch the damn Color Purple.
I mean, and I will never go to hell, pretty girl. Never. Never, because y'all didn't feel that too. All I could see was Miss Seeley and Suge in that tub in that moment.
That never crossed my mind.
Oh, sorry. That's how my mind works, y'all. I can't help it. I
was just happy that she got that level of comfort and trust to know I can take a bath. I can be vulnerable with the Mans, and this is a safe space for now. I'm gonna be okay. Like that was nice. But yeah, this was I'm interested to see because it feels like we're kind of jumping ahead per episode. So I wonder where we're gonna be next episode and how far they're gonna take the series. I didn't know where they were gonna stop. Like, are we gonna get to Natalia tweaking? Like, how far are we gonna take this?
Natalia's tweaking, man, in all black like the Omen. I'm ready. I don't know. I'd be here for that because I think we do need to get a full picture. And we have what 2 or 3 more episodes.
Not oppressed black women.
Listen, we can find an oppressed black woman inside anyone at any given moment. Critical. It's a knack. It's a gift. What can we say? But you guys, we have coming up right now. Well, I'm going to move it up because I thought this was going to be much longer than it actually was. We're going to be watching that Pop the Balloon, that Raggedy Pop the Balloon live. I think I'm going to go ahead and move it to 8:30. You good with that, Tyra? We ain't going to wait. Because we're just going to be watching it on Netflix together. So if you guys want to come over and join us on that live, it'll be at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Tyra, anything else you want to let the people know?
Y'all join us this week. We're gonna have a lot of content coming this week, so just be there and support us. I'm laughing at y'all in the I'm laughing at them in the chat. Like, yeah, you guys have just been awesome. We missed you guys last week, and we're happy to be back.
Yeah, we are. TP says salute because I wondered where you been, TP. I said, where TP at?
Watching Sinners.
And y'all at the same time. That's how good these lives are. I know that's right.
Oh, thank you, TP. That's our Avon Barksdale. I'm telling you. Love TP. All my life.
But we will see y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching. If you didn't already, please make sure you're subscribed and have the notification bell hit for both of us. Yeah, and we will see you right around the corner, honey, for Pop the Balloon Live, the Netflix version of it all. See you guys in a
Considered
few minutes.
myself blessed. I've known I was put on this earth to build a world where all kids can feel safe.